trucks.
O'clock, if you would stand and please join me in the flag.
Recording in progress.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we need to have an approval of the agenda, and we have a few items to add. Items C and E, the payment vouchers, have additions for invoicing that arrived today. So we'll add the payment voucher of, I guess I'll just go ahead and put the amount in, or do you want the whole thing?
Just do the amount and then
Okay.
do the actual invoices when you approve it.
Okay, for $8,780.40. And then E, which is the water fund voucher for $19,248.61. So those are the additions. Do you see anything else, Commissioner Curtin, for any changes or additions?
Nope.
Okay, do I hear a motion to accept?
I make a motion to approve the agenda of the October 7th, 2024 regular meeting agenda.
Okay, I'll
with the
second.
following
Yes, I'll
additions.
second it. And all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay, we're going to recess the regular meeting, and then we're going to open up the public hearing for the budget. So we can go ahead and to entertain any comments. If you would, please identify yourself and stand at the podium for comments for the budget.
Were we going to get briefed on the changes?
Yes, I could brief on the changes to begin with.
Sure, that'd be great.
I'm a bit confused.
Okay.
Okay, so on the budget you have there,
Did I get there?
the only difference from the posted budget and the one proposed today is that the revenue on the general fund was changed due to adjustments that are made on the executive director's wages. So the water fund reimbursements that occur through the course of the year, there was a change to the executive director's salary. So that made change to those reimbursements that occur throughout the year.
That's it?
No, there's two more items. The delinquent payment and recovery factor for the Cedarland homes had to be adjusted due to a resolution not being reached before the budget was due. So that number was lower because we expected a settlement and it did not happen. So it was readjusted to the policy. And thirdly, the general fund expenses, total change due to increase in the director's salary, which was directly reason for the reimbursement change. This change makes a slight increase in the following subcategories: payroll taxes, state retirement, and the COLA cost of living increases. And then on the expenses side, it's just the the total change due to the water fund reimbursement to the general fund expenses after adjustments to the executive director's wages. It's all that slight adjustment to the director's wages that affected the other categories, and the delinquency factor from the unpaid developer fees.
And that's because part of the executive's salary, director's salary is also shared with.
It's also shared for paying for water system expenses, correct? That is the only differences.
But I see some other differences that maybe I should, make my comment. Are you folks looking at the 10 pages as well?
No, well, they have
Well, I
10
have.
pages and they have the simplified.
Okay, well, yeah.
Go ahead.
My comments. Apologize, that kind of threw me for a loop. First off, Ken Van Buskirk, Belfair. I'm looking at page 4 of 10. This is what I found in the website. And I highlighted something in this page that had executive director's salary at $80,000. But I don't see anything on this page 2 that you just gave me for the executive director.
Run that back, say that again? I didn't understand that.
On
question.
page 4
Yeah, I see
of the
that.
10 pages,
Right.
there's a line item under human resources for executive director, $80,000.
Uh-huh.
That doesn't show up on this page 2 of 3 that I just
Of the
got when I
summary.
walked in here.
Of the summary, you mean?
Is this a summary?
Yeah,
Yes,
because it's a summary.
That's a summary.
Oh,
It's a
there's
summary.
okay,
That's
that's-
condensing all of those, that's why you don't see that
Yeah.
exact item, because it would need to be 10 pages as well.
Condensing, oh,
That goes to,
okay. Where, okay, as you go down in that page 4,
Sure.
there's a placeholder for operations manager, and it's 0 at this point.
Correct,
But I don't see that reflected in this page either.
because it's condensed, you don't see that. It's all, human resources is just one line.
Okay, so the security officer on page 4 is also,
Tapped into
human
human
resources.
resources, condensed into one.
and what is this Board of Commissioners, $12,000? Is that tapped in there as well?
Yeah, the Board of
I
Commissioners,
assume
those
that's
are stipends for the year.
I assume that's stipend?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I made my comments based on this. So that's what I would like to speak
Okay.
with my comments this evening. This really threw me for a loop, but I appreciate what you're doing. So the hearing this evening, you're going to adopt it. It sounds like you take testimony, and I hope you discuss some of the comments that are made. Last year, in December, we had a public hearing, but you didn't make a decision till later on. Last December, I worked with Leanne and discovered several errors that were corrected and cleaned up the budget a bit. But I also made some written comments. I was getting my knee replaced, and I think Mr. Carey read my comments into the record. But I want to compare what I said last year to what I'm looking at this evening. And I only looked at this Port of Allyn General Fund, page 4. And the first thing that I saw in here was the executive director's salary of $80,000. And I assume that that's probably what the amount is. Okay.
One moment. Joe and Carl have said they're not getting audio.
okay. We're waiting, just so that everybody knows, Zoom people weren't getting audio, so we're trying to fix that. Thank you for waiting.
I have one.
Can you hear us now?
Oh. Can you hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us now?
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Ken, thank you for waiting.
Okay, I was talking about the executive director, I believe. And what I wrote last year was that the executive director's salary has been the largest percentage of human resource budget for the last several years. And at that time, I suggested that you consider budgeting money for a search and limit the salary to 60 to 70,000 a year. And that should be your highest priority. You did budget for a search, and you started the search, but then it never happened. I went back and read the past budgets of the port from 2017 to 2023. And in 2017, Mr. Coppola started at $64,000 a year. In 2018, there was some sort of a personnel evaluation, and I think, I don't know that the port has been making a habit of doing a executive director personnel evaluation every year. If they have, I'm not aware of it, but the very next year, 2018, they had the port had a special meeting, and his salary was bumped up to $81,000, $20,000 roughly. 2019, it was bumped up to $84,000. 2020, $86,000. 2021, $88,000. 2022, $100,000. And in 2023, $108,000. That's a pretty big jump. And we also had he had announced he was going to retire, and we had an incoming director that was going to be budgeted for $9,000 to shadow him, I guess. I guess is the retirement based on the high three? I would imagine that's why that was happening, but it seems like it bumped rather considerably, and I don't ever remember there being executive director evaluations. But keep in mind, at the same time, you had an operations person that was drawing a salary and a security person that was drawing a salary. So I think the board should take a hard look at reorganization, division of duties, and spending authority. That was the first item I wanted to discuss. The second was the meeting stipends, which shows here Board of Commissioners for $12,000. And and that's captured in this budget that I got when I got through the door, from what I understand. Last year, I made a comment on that, and I think the commissioners actually decided to not take a stipend for the year, and you adopted it by resolution. Mr. Curtin came on, and he wasn't part of the decision to do that, so he's been drawing those stipends. But I would suggest that you don't have to take a stipend, and if you probably have to do a resolution if you're going to change and start taking stipends again. But there's some organizations that don't take stipends, like the school board and the cemetery board, and they all take a resolution every year and say that they're not going to take a stipend. The third thing I wanted to talk about, again, this is from my notes or my comments from last year in December, less than a year ago, was about cell phones. And my comments, let me see, that is on page 5 of 10. And I assume that's built into that same big number. $1,800 for cell phones. My comments last year were, do the port commissioners really need cell phones? I checked with other elected local organizations to include the Belfair Water District, the North Mason School District, North Mason Regional Fire Authority, Hospital District 1, Cemetery District 1, and none of those organizations provide cell phones for their directors. And I suggested that you eliminate that unnecessary expense, and I'm suggesting it again. Number 4 was membership dues and subscriptions. In here, we have it at 900. I know that you've been working real hard to eliminate some of the unnecessary subscriptions. I'm curious if the port is still involved with Kitsap Building Association.
No.
Okay,
I've
well,
explained
that's
that before.
great. Thank you so much. That was a comment that actually paid off. But I don't think it was adopted last year when you did the budget, but it has been since then, so thank you. Number 5 was legal services. We have down here $18,000 for this next budget. And I, at last year's budget hearing, suggested that you put something in the budget for the cost of mediation to deal with the Kerry's settlement agreement. I'm also going to suggest that you put more in legal services to deal with the Sweetwater dilemma and the arrangements with the Salmon Enhancement Group. Number 6, this was something that you actually took my suggestion. Lobbyists have been zeroed out. That was a suggestion I had made, so thank you for that. And let's see, what else do I have here? 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. I believe that's it, and I hope you take these comments and use them this evening and address some of this. You might have to dive into your summary document, but I think there is room for improvement. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Ken.
Okay, if you would state your name and
Good evening, Commissioners. Brad Carey from Tahuya. Couple things. Is John Sheridan, was he excused from this budget hearing? Just formalities.
he said he wasn't going to be able to make it. He had
Okay.
some previous.
Did you guys do a roll
Calendar.
call?
No, we don't usually do a roll call.
Okay, just from a procedural standpoint, I highly recommend you do a roll call, and if someone's not going to be
Okay,
present,
this is a budget hearing, so.
excuse me, just the formalities, then they are excused, in this case, from the budget hearing. So, you might want to have it on record and give them an excused absence. A budget hearing is pretty important to be at, so. Another formality is the posting of this budget hearing. It appears that there was just one posting, and it was all lumped together in the regular meeting posting. And I believe, you can check with council on this, or just call a state auditor, they'll be able to tell you. I believe you are required to post a budget hearing separately. It's its own separate hearing, and it's supposed to be posted separately. That's my understanding.
It can be wrapped into a regular meeting.
Okay. I understood differently, but you might want to just check on that. Obviously, because if it's not posted right, and people don't
Yep.
come to it, then they could.
The paper had 2 weeks of it posting.
Yeah, I'm just saying, you might have to have separate. Okay, those are the formalities. Okay. With regard to this budget, and by the way, Travis and the board, I understand you guys have been working really hard and the staff on this budget. And based on the past budgets I've seen, it looks like it's better than those past budgets, okay? But having said that, we know that there's money that's missing. We know there's money that's been spent or commingled between the general fund and the water fund. And so, with regard to this budget here, there's no footnote to identify that there is a discrepancy or something that's going to be worked out. Now, I zoom into these meetings, I watch these meetings. I've yet to see any public discussion or board discussion on what the plan is for identifying those monies that are missing, identifying the monies that may have been gifted for projects which we've talked about, Judy, with respect to the hotel, when the water fund got started, where the money came from the general fund. And so basically, we've got about 20 years, give or take, of where the budget that's been being passed has had money that's gone from the general fund and paid for or subsidized the ratepayers and the water fund. And those are two separate budgets, right?
Yes.
Okay. So, and I understand that there's a learning curve here, so I'm not trying to make people feel bad here. I'm just trying to say that, hey, it's important to understand that, and I've said this from the get-go, if the port's going to be in the water business, services utility, it's got to have its own separate budget. And that budget is financed by the ratepayers, and the expense and the revenue from those ratepayers pays those expenses. I think we can all agree that's how it's supposed to go. I know Larry and I agreed to that when Larry was around. So we all agree that if the port's going to be in the water business, it has to have its own water budget, and those ratepayers pay into that through their monthly fees and their connection fees and whatever else.
Do you have questions in regard to
Yes,
that?
I do.
Okay.
Because what's happening is it's not being footnoted. There's a big number that's going to affect this budget. And I've been kind of knocking on the same door over and over, and I've come to meeting after meeting, and it doesn't seem to get any traction here. And it's a pretty big number, I think. In other words, and it affects your budget, and there's no footnote on this budget that would talk about that number. So what I'm concerned about here is that you have dollars that were spent, like take my lawsuit, for example. I filed against the port. $200 and some thousand was spent on that. But that money most of that money came from the general fund instead of the water ratepayers or the water fund. So those are monies that have to be paid back. And so I don't see any of that on this budget. And to me, that's a big deal. Now, I've asked for this port, and this directly affects the budget, to do a independent forensic audit of their expenditures and their revenue, i.e. their budget. And I don't know if you guys are going to do one. If you are, tell me, and I'll just be quiet, go away, let me know it's going to start next year. I mean, I'm patient as long as we methodically work towards doing that. If we're not, then it's going to suck up my time to get back involved in this sport. I don't have a lot of time to get involved in this. I don't want to spend the time. We spend a lot of time already. So, but if the port won't commit to, and that's why I wanted John here tonight, if the port won't commit to at least engage in that, because that directly impacts your budget, Mike. I mean, that's a lot of money out there. It may be $500,000 or more.
But this is in regard to the budget.
I know, but it's not on the budget is what I'm saying. We all know that there's money that's unaccounted for. We all know that there's money that was spent from the general fund to for the water purpose. So I want to know, and those numbers need to be incorporated into this budget report. If nothing else, as a footnote at the bottom saying, hey, there is monies that we're still investigating that we can't account for, that were spent, which we can't account for. There is money that was spent and commingled from the general fund to the water fund and from water fund back to general fund, maybe, I don't know on that one. Okay, well, I'm looking at the bookkeeper, I assume. Okay, so, and I'm saying, hey, Travis, you didn't cause this problem. You guys didn't cause this problem. All I'm saying is that if we recognize, and Mike, you weren't here to cause this problem, okay? So if we recognize that this is a problem, then, and we all agree it's a problem, then if we can get some sort of consensus with respect to this budget, that those things will be addressed in the 2025 budget. There's no line item that says we're going to spend this much money to bring in a forensic accountant as an example, okay, and have them go through this. Or we're going to pay extra to our own bookkeeper or Travis. And by the way, before I even forget, I'm jumping here, but I disagree with Ken Van Buskirk on the executive director's pay. The executive director's pay should be increased. I don't know what you're making now, but I was going to say $150,000 to $200,000 a year, because what these guys are going through, they're inheriting a problem, and they're having to spend extra amount of energy and time to clean this, to get it back to where it's in balance and everything's kosher. And that creates a tremendous amount of stress and anxiety, okay? I've done it before, and it'll ride with you for years. You go home, you're thinking about it. I know you are. You wake up in the morning, you're thinking about it. These are hours you're not getting paid. So what I'm saying is, in contrary to what, and the same goes for the bookkeeper. If they're going to work hand in glove and really get this thing ferreted out, even if you come to the end of the day and say, okay, there's an extra $500,000 that are missing, and it's just missing, and we're going to move on. That's up to the board to make that decision. I'm all about transparency, okay? That's how I got started on this, and I've been singing that song for a long time. So with regard to the budget, I'm finding that to be more transparent, it would be nice to see a footnote addressing those two issues, those two buckets where you got money that admittedly has been, commingled, and it's going to get put back, I understand, but there's nothing noting that. And then the money that's missing, there needs to be some sort of you have to address it, and then you can put a line through it if you have to. The public can make their decision what they want to do when it's transparent. So that's my issue in that area. Okay, let me make sure I'm hitting all my points. So I got to get back home too. Okay, so agree. Okay, I don't want to bring another lawsuit against the port. Okay, and I noticed under administrative or something, I think that's where the $18,000 is buried for legal that Ken talked about. I'm not sure if that's just for the general or if that's for the water. Is it split 50-50-ish?
No.
Just roughly.
The water has a separate allocation for legal.
Okay, how much was that roughly? Roughly, just roughly.
I gotta see it.
Okay. 5, 10, 15, 20,000? 5? Okay, so 5,000. Hey, that's the same number we talked about, Travis. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is this. Okay, we'll just pretend it's 5,000, okay? 6,000? Okay, 6,000. Do I hear 7? Okay, so anyway, there's been money allocated to that. My concern, always going forward, is ports can pretty much do what they want to do if the tax base is behind them, okay? But it still has the statutes that it has to qualify and comply with. And so the issue of consent, I've got a letter here, Mike, maybe you've seen it, Mike, I don't know if you have or not. It's from Washington Water. It says they do not consent, they never consented, and they do not consent. Just send a letter to Washington Water and say, do you consent to the port being in the water business? I'm sure they'll say, yes, we do, in your service area, and move on, get that one done. That's probably the biggest player out here, and that gets you past that hurdle, in my opinion, okay? So just send them a letter and say, hey, would you consent? And let us, because they might say, no, we don't consent. We want to service those guys, and we can do it for half as much, maybe. And if they say that, I'm not saying they will, then that's a good thing for you guys, because it's expensive to be in the water business. Joe Steele's been complaining to me that, and other people have been telling me they're paying almost twice as much. I don't know what the monthly usage fees are, whether 80, 90 bucks a month. I'm in 2 water districts as well as my own well, but in the 2 water districts, I'm paying $400 a year in Shorebrook. I think I'm paying $400 a year in Maggie Lake as well. The only difference is Shorebrook, we can use as much water as we want, whereas Maggie Lake, after you reach a threshold, they charge so much per gallon after that. So there's a lot of water districts out there that are delivering water, and it's all, everybody's water, and they're just getting it out of the ground and delivering it to our doorstep, and they're doing it for a very affordable cost. And that's what the port should be interested in making sure is happening. You don't want to be charging more than everybody else, okay? Connection fees, $1,800 to $2,000 to do a connection fee in Shorebrook, and I think the same is true in Maggie Lake. So I'm saying that your prices are probably pretty high. And, you know, it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of things government can do for us, but it is, in this budget, I can see that maybe this is not one of the things that you know, you might want to think about an exit plan in 2 or 3 years down the road potentially, so that you can put it back in the hands of private sector, for profit, or even a utility company like PUD number 1, and it gets done for, you know, a fraction of what you guys are charging, and taxes are paid on a for-profit. Okay. So I think we agree that consent and that the ratepayers need to pay whatever the costs are. I think everybody agrees with that. So I'd like to see that happen. That way there's no litigation that has to go, because the last thing I want to do is have the port go through another litigation issue. All right? Okay, budget law. Okay, I've seen budgets in the past where when you reach your maximum that you have allocated in that budget, that when the days of Larry Capola, they just kind of kept spending or allocating, writing IOUs. I want assurance from this commission that if you reach your benchmark, your estimated, let's say $6,000 for legal in the water fund, for example, and now you need $10,000, you're going to hold a budget amendment hearing so that the public that's paying the bill has a chance to see why or what's going on here. Is that how things are done with respect to, okay. So that's good. So we have assurance. I know you, Travis. I'm sure you'll do that. If you're reaching, you know, you're getting to your, you know, in other words, you're going to exceed your budget amount, you're going to have a budget hearing and let the public know, hey, sorry, we misjudged on this expense, right? Good. Okay. All right. Missing funds, okay, we did all that. Footnotes. It'd be nice to see footnotes. I know I sound like Donald Trump, don't I? Nice to see footnotes. All right, independent forensic audit. It'd be nice to see that happen, please. If you don't do that, I'm going to have to start making public records requests for all of the vouchers from when the port bought that property with 8 connections to forward, and I don't want to do that. That's a lot of work for Travis, that's a lot of work for somebody, and it's a lot of work for me to go through those documents, but that'll show every dollar that was spent on the water. Okay, and then I'll have to ask for all the revenue, and we'll be able to see the difference, and that'll be the shortfall. Okay. Okay. Oh, Joe Brogan, who's the port's attorney, he and I had many conversations, okay, as we tried to resolve this lawsuit that we had to file against the port to get the Washington Water document for one. And the port racked up about $200 and some thousand in legal bills. Now, somewhere along the way, and I've looked at all the video, I can't see, and I was at many of the meetings, I cannot see where, or I want to know why. I want to know what the motivation was for those legal dollars to be reduced. I want to know what happened with respect, what happened is, Mike, you weren't here. What happened is there was like a $220,000 in expenditures for legal, okay? And the attorney and Larry worked out some sort of deal. I went to one meeting where Larry and the attorney said, we worked out a deal, and they reduced it by, was it 25,000? Does that sound about right, Travis? You've been looking at it probably, and I haven't. But give or take?
I don't remember, it was 25,000.
But some number, right? And we could never find out why. Was it just like, was it because Larry had mentioned that Larry told me he had gotten bad legal advice. Now, I've often wondered if you get bad legal advice, did it get tendered to your insurance company? Because if in fact there was, you know, errors made on the part of counsel, then of course your insurance might cover you and they might, so, but I'd like to know why that number got reduced, okay? And I can make public records requests for all the documents now that litigation's over.
I don't know if there is, because it was lawyer,
Just
you
a
know,
freebie?
confidentiality. I think so.
Nice freebie.
Well,
So, I mean, do you know Travis? I mean, do you find any notes to the effect, I mean, Larry did this deal, was there any notes ever leading up to what happened in 20?
Honestly, I was curious myself at one point, and I did not find any notes to that regard.
Okay, well, you and I both like old movies, and we never like to turn them off till we know the ending. So I would like to know the ending of that. So if give me permission to talk to Joe, I'll call up Joe Brogan and talk to him and ask him.
Well, it's legal counsel and
He'll
confidential.
talk to me,
so I
just,
don't
he won't
know.
bill you for it.
No.
If you've just,
I reserve to promise anything. I don't want to promise
Okay.
anything at this point.
well, if you guys could find out, and maybe at the next meeting, let us know. I mean, the public has the right to know why that was reduced. I mean, it's great that it was. It's too bad it had to be spent in the first place, but the fact is, it'd be nice to know, like, why did he just give us a $25,000 to $50,000 discount? So, okay, that's it. Thanks for, listening.
Thank you.
Good to see you, tell John.
Thank you, Brett.
Sorry to disagree with you there.
Aaron,
I just want to speak on something. I was going to bring it up during my report as
go ahead
well.
and please stand up there. Sorry.
No, it's okay. So I was going to bring it up during my report, but I would like to, with your permission, next meeting, just kind of do a presentation on the BAR's process, how we report things, our accounting, and maybe it'll answer some of your questions of where things went. I don't know about any missing money, but I know what you mean about different things being allocated maybe in a way that should have been different. And so with your permission, I'd like to do that next
Yes,
meeting
I
and
think that'd
present
be
to
great.
everybody. Okay.
Yeah, if it's okay with the rest of the,
Yeah,
I would
I think that would be excellent.
absolutely love the education.
thank you.
that would make it clear to all of us.
Yes, that's the goal.
Okay. We're still in the public hearing. Do I hear anybody else for comments? The only one would be Joe. I don't see anybody else in the audience. Okay, with no more, any more further comments?
Yep, you can close the hearing.
Pardon?
Is that adjourning this meeting?
Yes, we will close the public hearing and then we will go into the regular meeting.
Just call it back to order.
Okay, so we're going to close the public hearing and then we will call the regular meeting back to order. And now it's for public comment. Yes. Please keep it to 3 minutes. Before you had no time limit.
Brad Carey here. Anyway, I just want to say thanks for not limiting my comment during the budget hearing, because oftentimes it's hard to manage a municipality in 3 minutes once a month. And so we stack up all these questions, we feel rushed, we feel hurried, and there's so much to talk about that we can't get it done during that public comment. So that's why I came to the budget hearing, is because we know we can relax, we can communicate what we need to communicate. So that's my public comment.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go pick some mushrooms.
Oh,
All right.
jealous.
Ken Van Buskirk, Belfair. So you're not going to approve the budget until later in the meeting?
Yes, that's
Are you
correct.
going to have a discussion about the comments that you heard at that time?
I don't know. You have any comments on it? Depends.
Yeah, it depends. Still working.
Part of the resolution says that after you duly discussed and took public comment, that you would then approve the resolution. So I'd just like to know.
Well, we can bring it up, of course.
I'd just
We
like
can-
to know
sure.
that you'll talk about it when you do the resolution. Something else I'd like to mention for public comment. What did I do with it? On the port's website, there's a survey on there that's been on there for a while. And
Is it, anybody respond?
it has the comprehensive scheme on it. And a lot of those items are prioritized. I think you folks need to have a workshop and
That's on.
look at that comprehensive scheme. One thing that's on there at the very bottom is a survey asking people how they feel about the trail from Belfair State Park to the Salmon Center. Well, the way I feel about it, if you enter into any more agreements with the Hood Canal Salmon Enhancement Group to work on any kind of projects, you really need to have your attorney look at those agreements. And I have taken, Travis gave me the contact information for Honduras and for your attorney. I'm going to forward to them, since you folks haven't, both the Orca violations and the pictures that I sent you that I took to your attorney and to Honduras. So I want you to be aware of that. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay,
I have 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Brad Carey, just real quick, take off from what Ken said. It's really, really important you guys do due diligence on that ORCA violation, because if somebody has with asbestos and it becomes a problem 10 or 15 years down the road, it could be horrific. By letting your insurance company know now, it at least might, mitigate any future claim down the road. That's all I'm saying. You don't need someone coming back and saying, hey, 10 or 15 years, and you guys are long gone maybe, and they've got a problem, and they think it's directly related to the dismantling of that structure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thanks. guys.
Okay, we will close the public,
It was already closed.
I meant the public comment.
Okay.
I found this on the web.
Oops, how did that happen?
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, now we have our consent agenda items. One moment here. So with the addition, let's see now, I get a little confused. Oh, okay, I see. The additional items that we had added.
They're already added.
Okay, they are. Okay, excellent. So I just need a motion to accept the consent agenda items.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items of the October 7th, 2024 Port of Allyn regular meeting agenda.
Okay, I'll second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, now we are at the commissioners' reports. Mike, Commissioner Curtin, would you like to share what you have?
Yeah, let me bring it up real quick. Had it. Where'd it go? Here we go. Not that big a list. On September 12th, I participated in the Brownfield seminar at the Port of Bremerton. That was very informative and interesting. September 27th, I helped with the placement of the traction treads and the placement of the new camera pole. And then September 25th, I attended the workshop meeting.
Excellent. Well, of course, the 9th, the regular meeting. September 19th was the Peninsula Regional Transportation Organization, and we'll talk about that later. Huh?
Yeah, just remind me, I also attended the regular meetings.
Yeah.
Maybe add that too.
And then, of course, the 25th did the work session. The 26th, we did a Port of Allyn tour with Eric Fitch, and was it Jerome from the Washington Public Ports Association? Eric Fitch is the executive
James.
director.
It's James.
James
Yeah, Coburn.
Cockburn, because I saw him, that's right, okay. He's from Port of Edmonds, actually. So
Okay, yeah.
he joined us as well. So we gave them a tour, it was great. October 4th was the Economic Development Council Bylaws Committee, I'm on that. And then today, there was a Washington Public Ports legislative meeting, and I unfortunately left everything at home, but I'll try to catch up with that of what the Washington Public Ports is, what their list is of importance and priorities and what they're concentrating on, and I'll share that with the next meeting. And then also Washington Public Ports Association has a scholarship that can be awarded. I mean, they're putting out scholarship candidates, I think, and I'd like to nominate Justine Nix for applying for that scholarship. and this can be for employees or members of the Washington Public Ports Association. So, anyway, that's it for me. Okay, now I think it is your turn, Travis.
Well, you all had a chance to read the executive director's report.
Yes, we did.
I can highlight any portions if you like, or do you have any questions upon its contents?
No, I don't think so. I know we were gonna, no. Let me take a quick look here, because I thought I may have something.
Where is it?
Nope, no questions.
Okay.
Good job.
Well, I will step in a few items. We've actually had a rash of abandoned/derelict vessel issues this month.
Okay,
We have a new one that just showed up at the North Shore as of Friday. It will be posted by tomorrow. I'm not going to wait any longer than the amount of days. There's been no contact, and the boat is not in great shape. It's also been in our harbor for the last month at anchor. So now it's just attached to our dock. It's a 32-foot sailboat. Pretty good size.
yeah.
It's in better shape than the last derelict, but not by much. And then, of course, we have the very beautiful 32-foot Chris craft out here on Allyn that is technically in the port's possession. We have custody of that vessel currently. And once custody was obtained, I boarded the vessel to find out that there's engine parts strewed throughout the cabin. We don't allow repairs at our berth. I'm in talks with the DNR representatives to make sure that my consideration of having the locks changed so that they cannot be worked on and cause an environmental problem is accurate. If so, I will go through that process, but not if we won't be reimbursed for it. So otherwise, I'll come up with another method of securing it. But right now, we're in the 45-day wait for appeal process.
Okay,
If fees are not paid in full by the time that process is over, we would begin auction proceedings.
okay.
It also isn't eligible for storage rates because we don't have any form of contact with the owner giving us their insurance information. If we're not an insurance holder on the boat, it can't be there for storage. So it's technically still acquiring $48 a day.
Okay. Okay,
Other than that, security-wise, it's been a quiet month. Sadly, 3 sea lions appeared about a week ago.
I like that how you phrased that in the
Yep.
executive.
They haven't been there the last couple days, but I mean, I don't see this time of year us having an inundation issue of a massive amount of them. Most of them are heading south for the warmer weather.
There was one there Saturday night.
Yep, there was.
So,
Okay,
All right, that's all I have.
all right. What is, now we go to the priority, old business, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's just the list of the port priorities, if you'd like to discuss any of those port priorities with the public.
Well,
I can answer some questions.
I've
if you have
been
any.
able to keep up and follow up with most of the water system development. We're still, as your report said, we're still working through the final purchase of the water system from Jeff Carey.
Correct, there's a few very minor details
Yeah.
that are yet to be finished.
Yes. Allyn Waterfront's getting repairs, which is
Yes.
great. That's
yeah,
moving
The
along.
first phase of repairs have been accomplished.
Oyster house relocation, we're still waiting to hear from Art Anderson, or?
No,
they-
we've heard back from them. It's just a matter of we need to be in a position where we have the money in our general fund to pay
Yes.
that and be reimbursed before our next bill cycle comes.
Yeah, so that means we have to delay it for a little bit.
Yep.
So we can
Yep.
get the
By
funds
the-
to
by-
get them
by-
started.
By the end of October, all of our tax money will roll in. We can make that maneuver and get reimbursed before we need the money again
Yeah.
for bill purposes from our Department of Commerce appropriation funds.
Okay. Port safety and security, I think we're okay
Pretty
with
much
that. I
covered
heard
that,
about the camera, one camera did not work, that's
Yes,
toast.
we worked on it really diligently. It was the camera that was a bubble that got 4 individual cameras in it that was behind the actual pay station on the North Shore. And neither Don or I ever remember when the cameras did operate for the short time, ever seeing that one work.
Oh, okay,
So we were able to connect it once locally to the computer, but then when we tried to connect it online, it would never connect, and it said it needed to be rebooted, and we would reboot it, and then it said, it needed an update. We'd go through with the update process, and it just would not connect either on the local system or over online after that. But the bubble camera, like the one that we have here that's working, that one is completely functioning and ready to install.
great.
And that's the one that's going to track the users of the boat ramp so that we can identify who's paying and not paying, and we'll have a solid system of making sure that we get our delinquency rate on our fees down to a very small percentage.
Great. Okay, that's excellent. Okay, next is setting the time and date for our next workshop.
That's going to be challenging.
So if I may, we have, both of you are scheduled for the October 24th and 25th Small Ports Conference.
Yes,
And that would leave us a better scenario of the week of October 28th through November 1st for the workshop.
yeah, but my only day is the 28th or the 31st, which is a Monday or a Thursday. The rest I'm kind of busy. I might be able to work it out. You tell me.
Let me,
Mike, we'll have to work around what you have.
I can do Monday, during the day, I can do Monday or earlier in the day on Wednesday, and I can do, Halloween's kind of a tricky day.
Yeah, how about the, we'll shoot for the 28th. I think that seems to work. Or does that, that's
28th
the
good for
Monday.
you? Yeah,
I can make that work.
Okay.
yeah, 28th, that's fine.
Would 2 o'clock be okay?
Let's see, 2 o'clock, that should be fine.
Okay.
Something else to consider for the future is if I haven't been too inundated with other port business, but we do have an opportunity with a local business considering renting the area down here.
Yes.
On more of a long-term, like weekly basis,
Oh, yeah, well, we can work around that.
right? It's just, if we did, it would mean that our extra meetings would have to be past like 3 o'clock,
Sure,
which I'm
That's
sure we
fine.
can address.
okay.
Yep.
Is 2
So
p.m.?
2 p.m. is fine for this month, if it's fine with
Yeah,
Commissioner
and
Curtin.
that's the 28th, 2 p.m. Monday, correct?
Yep.
So you got it. Now, when are we looking at making them starting to use the facilities?
Still got to work all that out. I've got to actually make a proposal. So, and then bring it before the commission. Because it would be outside our current policy, because they would be looking for a better rate because they're going to be here Monday through Friday or Monday
yeah.
through Thursday. Figured that it would be better to bring that forth and have that approved by the commission than me just making it so. It's kind of a big deal for us to tie up the meeting room for that long, because I also need to coordinate with all the other community engagements that use the facility, and they would have to kind of find time to use it only one day a week or on the weekends. So there's some considerations there. We do have a a seniors stretching class starting once a week.
Okay, down here?
Yep, down here.
Okay, great.
And it's starting Wednesday. And that one is mostly community members from here, just here in the local area.
Okay.
But there's a professional teacher that will be teaching it, and it'll be a for-profit scenario. So they're just going to rent the room for 1 hour on Wednesdays each week.
Great. Okay. Anything else?
We got that nailed
Mike,
out.
anything? Okay, next item is the PRTPO Transportation Plan Project List. Did you have a chance to glance through this at all, Mike?
I did.
Okay.
I read through.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but I spoke with Sarah Black, who is the coordinator for PRTPO. And if you'll notice on this, this is the RTIP project list. This is an addendum or to the, it's an appendix A of the 2025 to 2030 Regional Transportation Improvement Plan. And I noticed that Mason has only one item on this big list.
Yep.
Everything else is Port Townsend, Clallam mostly.
There's 3 sheltered
Jefferson.
items.
Yeah.
But North Mason, you're right. one
So I asked her today, I called her today, why is that? And it's just that they have been more engaged, I think, and that they kind of know more about how to start making plans for this. So I asked her, how important is this? And it's pretty important. What I would like to propose is that we take a look around our communities, see what kind of transportation issues we have, address some of them, suggest them, put them in our scheme of harbor improvements. And she had mentioned that really just having it in your scheme of harbor improvements doesn't necessarily mean you have to do that, but it does support any other projects for grants, even if it's WashDOT or the county is going after a grant for any transportation. Having that extra support and plan that shows that the community is thinking about some of these things, it just adds the ability for them to get money. Or if we want to take over a plan, or start to go for grants, then we have to have that in our scheme of harbor improvements and then put it on the RTIP project list. So that later down the road, we can apply and get for grants, or at least be supportive of those that do. We don't have to jump on this right now. Traditionally, granting starts in June. So maybe in January, we can start brainstorming about some of this. One of the things that's always been a big concern of mine is Highway 300, how dangerous it is for people to walk.
It needs a sidewalk.
So whether it be sidewalk or, extension of the side, I know that they did improve it, but it's still not enough. Or a trail system, that we could endorse, or whatever that we could do to get people off the road, or at least even bikes or whatever. More sidewalks, whether it be sidewalk in Allyn or more sidewalks partly down Old Belfair Highway. People are walking down there too. There's lots of different things that we could improve on. So I just wanted to have the commission take a look and be thinking about what we can put in our. And, one thing I did appreciate about Ken speaking up about the scheme of harbor improvements, it does need to be looked at again. Some things taken off, some things added on, case in point, transportation. So that's it for me on that. You have any questions?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at the moment. Start brainstorming, coming up with some ideas.
Sure. Yeah, that'd be great.
Checking with people, see what they think.
And you might take a look, at some of these projects, because it'll say, case in point, there's a resurfacing, there's a park and ride enhancement, there's a rehab of a building, matter of fact, Mason Transit. their building needs rehabilitation or replacement. There's a culvert that needs to be changed, reconstruction of a boulevard, walking routes, railroad overlays, bicycle and pedestrian safety. You know, it's pretty broad. Anything
Does
to-
this work for like electric car charging stations?
I don't
type
think
thing?
so. Well, actually, I think that was one of them. Matter of fact, we were thinking about doing something like that because that is considered transportation. There was some grants for that, but we didn't jump on that. more
No,
so.
there still is grants
Yeah.
available for that. It's just pursuing it.
Yep. Okay, now we need to reschedule the November regular meeting because it falls on a holiday, which is Veterans Day. So we might suggest that it be on the 12th. Are you good with that? Which is a Tuesday. It's the next day.
No. I have a convention. I'm going to be out of town on the 12th and 13th. I just looked at it and it's like,
That's November.
you know, it's something I had agreed to a while back to do.
Worst case, the 13th, the Wednesday. We really can't go much farther than that.
Can we do it like the 7th, 8th?
No. It's got to be the next business day, or as close to the next business day, right after its scheduled day.
How about the 14th?
We're going to be in trouble. 14th, it's way outside our voucher cycles for our bills. We're just getting so far away. That's a Thursday, isn't it?
Can you zoom in on the 12th? Or are you going to be out of town completely?
Yeah, I'm going to be out of town at a
Okay.
convention for my church that I'm representing it. for.
Okay.
And you'd be out of town Wednesday as well.
Yes, those 2 days.
I don't mind having it on Veterans Day.
Can't have it on a holiday.
Really?
Nope.
Oh,
Yeah, 'cause that-
okay.
That's a hard line.
that's,
Well,
Yes, okay, there is another option. Thank you. You can call a special meeting to reschedule the regular meeting.
okay.
That's the best we could do, but we still run up with the problem that if we could call a special meeting on
The
the
12th?
12th to reschedule the regular meeting to the 14th, but
Okay.
we can't go any farther outside than that.
All right, well,
We're going to have to make some phone calls with some of our.
well, let's just go ahead and schedule a rescheduling meeting on the
Okay.
12th.
That we will do.
12th of November?
Yes, it'll be like just a quick meeting to reschedule a regular meeting for the 14th. Then we'll
So
be legal.
bring your phone in and we'll get it set up so that you can zoom in on your phone.
Or even just call.
Or
Just
you can
call.
just call, actually.
He doesn't have to
Yeah,
zoom in, he
yeah,
can just
okay.
call.
It'll take us 3 minutes. I think that'll be done.
Okay, I can I can do the phone thing too, that's not a problem.
Okay. What time do you want that meeting? On a Tuesday?
It should be at 6 PM,
Okay,
so that it's congruent with our normal time.
okay.
Travis, can we approve the vouchers as well? Or is that the all meeting or no meeting kind of thing? You just table a voucher? I'm just wondering if, I don't know.
Well, if everybody shows up, I mean, you know, as long as we have a quorum, we can.
Yeah, as long as John's there, we can
Yeah.
usually do it without me, 'cause
I think technically that could occur. That would actually put us in a
Sure.
better position with our bills.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a question for you, Mike. I know that it's awkward, I know that you're busy, and especially 6 o'clock, wherever you're going, I understand that's usually when everybody wants you, 6 o'clock, right? Is it, I've just made the phone call in where I'm just on the speakerphone, and even if you do that, that's okay. I don't know if that's possible for you. You want to investigate that?
Yeah, I can find out.
Okay.
I'm not, it's, like I said, it's this big convention. so,
Sure, I know,
I can,
I know.
for the,
I don't mean
I
to,
could probably walk out of at one meeting for a few minutes, long enough to.
Sure, okay.
Because it's not like I'm in charge of anything at this meeting, I'm just there, one voice amongst hundreds.
I understand. Okay. So we've set the time. November 12th at 6 o'clock is just the quick meeting to reschedule our meeting. That way at least we will follow through with requirements. Okay. Now we are on to Resolution 2024-17, Final Operating Budget. So, do you have any other comments, especially in regard to anything that Mr. Van Buskirk had to share?
Let's see, back to the budget. At the moment, no. The only thing I had was in reference to, haven't you to some extent, when you took over, did like a forensic, I mean, you've pretty much gone through all the budgets for all the past years and trying to figure out what was what to begin with, haven't you?
Well, all of our books have been reconciled, so that's where the board stands currently. If the commission directs me to look further than that, I will
Well-
do so.
When we had to take everything back over, we did look through everything, and there wasn't really anything inappropriate, but again, because there was just too much spending, I think really that was it, and it wasn't inappropriate spending, just not paying attention. And I have to say that Larry was very ill, and we did not know how ill he was. And I don't mean to, just being honest. He was not able to do everything that he needed to pay attention to. I don't think there was anything that was devious or illegal or anything like that. Because we've had you, Jeff, Travis, we've had help from the Commissioner Netherland to go through some of this. So there wasn't any inappropriate things. Maybe mistakes, but not purposeful or anything like that. And we've combed through this, especially with Jeff's help, combed through this and your help. Even in regard to some of the things that Mr. Van Buskirk has brought up, some things I just, disagree with. Duly noted. What Travis has been having to go through and step in, step up, get training, relearn, carry it home. I think we're doing well with that.
I think he's definitely earning what he's
Absolutely.
getting paid, and that's one thing I actually agree with. He's probably he's worth
Yes.
more than what we're paying him.
Yes.
So,
Well, and I was going to say, most
we
every
just can't afford to pay him what he's worth.
every executive director, we are in the very, very low end. So we just got matter of fact, a revenue from Washington Public Ports Association. They share what the dues are based on, what people's revenue is. And then also, did you get that email by any chance? No? Did you?
Yeah, I had to fill out some forms with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Aaron helped me with it.
Yeah, and then I think it also shares what the salaries are too, doesn't it, on that one?
That might be a different email. Is the one they just sent out?
Yeah,
I didn't look at that one.
okay. 'Cause I think
It's,
it shares
it's in
salaries.
my pinned stuff to, when the minute comes to itself,
Yeah.
I can look at it, but yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think they do release that.
Yeah. And, we're really low. We don't have a big budget, of course,
No,
but,
we are-
there's
we
a
are
lot
very
to
low.
this. And, with John Sheridan and I not taking a stipend, the 12,000, that's one. And he needs it. I mean, not, he needs to be able to catch up to speed and needs to get reimbursed for what he's pouring into here, so,
And, part of that is allowing us to still find a little bit of money in the budget to be able to pay for some of the portions of going to small ports meetings.
and those are
And
critical,
those are critical.
because
I mean,
those are
I-
training, and we have to get the
I mean,
training.
Technically, I have paid my way to one convention already, and I've paid for my lodging expenses.
Yeah.
Because I feel that it's important enough that I be there.
Yeah.
And I have the port, and, I have my business, and I've found a way to make that happen, to engage and, provide for my community
Yeah, and I appreciate that,
through education.
yeah. Well, I tell you, the port's cost me a lot of money in the years.
Yeah, it's not a money-making business, that's for
Nope.
sure.
So, with my little 2 cents, I have nothing else to add. Commissioner, do you have anything to add that you want to share?
Nope.
Uh, Would you like to go to the resolution?
Yes. All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution 2024-017, a resolution of the Port of Allen affirming the adoption of the final operating budget for 2025 pursuant to RCW 53.35.030.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. I do appreciate everybody who's had a part in giving their thoughts and
If you
opinions.
might remind the public that the resolution is clearly posted online for their viewing.
Okay. I was reminded that the resolution is posted on the website.
Otherwise, you'll have to read it. It's
Okay.
pretty long.
Yes. Normally we would read it, but it is a full page, so please take a look. And you'll get John to sign that too,
He's not at the meeting, he can't sign
so
it.
he can't sign that? Oh, okay,
The quorum has signed it, it is in effect.
all right. Okay,
Resolution 2024.
18, yes. And this is the adoption of the property tax levy, and usually every year, just for explanation for everybody, we are allowed to take 1% increase. And, I don't necessarily want to have more taxes either, but we don't necessarily be able to keep up with inflation and with everything going on, so that extra additional $3,000 will certainly help. And it's based on the levy amount from the previous year, which was $321,250.64, and we'll take 1% of that. So do we hear a motion to approve Resolution 2024-018?
I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-18, a resolution of the Port of Allen Commission affirming the adoption of the property tax levy for 2025 pursuant to RCW 84.55.120.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Okay, this is two-part. It also has the official Department of Revenue form.
Okay. And again, this will be posted on the Port of Allen website.
It currently is.
It currently is?
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything to do with the Department of Revenue, I usually try to avoid. Along with most people.
Okay, next is a resolution 2024-019 to appoint the auditor, which is Aaron Sevilla. Do I hear a motion?
Yep. All right, I'll make a motion to approve the resolution 2024-19, a resolution adopting the annual appointment of an auditor by the Port of Allyn Board of Commissioners.
I'll second that. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. There we go. And then it is, make a motion to approve the commission signatures on the Mason County Auditor Financial Services documents.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the commission signatures of Mason County Auditor Financial Services documents.
Okay, and that's resolution 2020, oh,
It's
that's
not
not
a
a
resolution.
resolution, sorry.
Nope.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. So moved.
It's just the form that we have to submit with our budget
Yeah.
to the county. And then secondly, this is the information sheet that the county needs so that they know how many commissioners are required to approve warrants,
Okay,
which ours is 2 a quorum.
thank you. Okay. Next is our financial state of the port by Aaron Sevilla, Port of Allyn Accounting. Thank you, Aaron.
Okay, so we have our income and expense report. As has been mentioned a couple of times, this month is a good month for us. We'll get our property tax revenue, so that will kind of keep us good through April will be our next big dump. Usually the couple months around it, we get a little bit. We did get another good amount of DNR revenue this
Almost
month.
8,000.
Yeah,
Oh,
so
really?
that's really been
Because of the
helping.
clear cutting that is happening up on
Yeah.
the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been nice. The water fund projected through the year end does look scary, but based on the budget, it looks like maybe some of that DOH ARPA loan with the Cary water system isn't going to happen this year. Travis, is that what I'm
Well, the ARPA's
understanding?
already in there.
Oh, something, is
So
the second part not happening perhaps?
No, well, we're still in active negotiation on whether that's going to land this year or next.
Okay,
The
So that-
contracts got out really late, and we had a meeting with DOH that it leads to another meeting
yeah.
for us to, because our solution isn't detailed in our scope of work on our contract,
Okay.
and we're going to end up needing that second meeting with the people who do our drinking fund water loan contract, so we're hoping so.
Okay, so a couple of things with the water fund. Whether or not that happens is going to change that ending balance. And then I know Travis is actively working on receiving some connection fees here in the next month or so, hopefully on some houses that are selling. So I don't think we're going to end up with a negative number, but that's just where we're at right now without more information. After this meeting, if everything is approved, I'll do the reimbursement transfer this week to pay the general fund back. And then, yeah, just like I was saying earlier, I would like to do a little presentation next meeting on, like Judy was saying, there was no misappropriation of funds. There was no money that was spent that shouldn't have been. Like you said, there were just a few errors along the way that are fixable, correctable, but if we address them, then we can come up with a plan on how to do that, or maybe not, but at least it can be addressed. So I'd like to do that next meeting, but other than that, I mean, 2024 was just a year of surviving, and I think now going into 2025, we've all been here a year working together, and I think it's gonna be good.
Great.
So, Thank you. And I'm going to, I've got a basketball game to go to.
Okay, thank you, Erin.
Oh, and I'm sorry, one last interruption. This was given to me for Mr. Curtin's from.
Okay. Who's that from?
From
Brad? Okay.
I need to get it to you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Do we have a motion that we need to make to pay the vouchers?
Yes, we'll have the third quarter reimbursement numbers there. Just basically part of what Aaron was
Okay.
discussing. And now we're into the vouchers.
Okay.
Now, if I may step in, so that I can explain the
Oh.
differences between the
Yes.
posted agenda and the vouchers that you have before you.
Yes, okay.
We have, because our meeting was the first Monday, not the second Monday per our usual, because we needed to do the budget hearing, there was a few billings that did not come in on time, but they snaked themselves in this morning. I will start with payroll. There's no changes there. It's
Okay.
absolutely no changes to the payroll.
Okay.
General fund vouchers. General fund vouchers, there was, starting after Wave Broadband, you have Department of Licensing, H.D. Fowler, and Mike Dorgan. Mike Dorgan was a refund for the use of the rental space. It did not actually happen.
Okay.
The H.D. Fowler billing was for the security pole that we installed at the North Shore. And the Department of Licensing is for 4 cents.
Okay.
It's how much it costs to run a plate for our derelict vessels that end up at the
Okay.
port. And any vessels that we need information on that are suspect to whatever purposes, even vehicles if we needed to try to figure things out before we progress.
4 cents?
4 cents, yes.
Okay, big expense.
The other way of doing it is that instead of having an account, you can go and you can send them a request, and it takes them 5 days to get back to you. And that just doesn't work for us when we're dealing with these derelict vessels and various other things. So you'll see a charge of 4 or 8 cents maybe.
Okay.
In fact, that 4 cents is completely reimbursable through the derelict vessels program.
Okay.
Moving on to the water vouchers, there was 3 additions there. Our underground utilities location center billing, which is usually up, that is $2.64 is for 2 contacts by them for getting locate information.
Okay.
And then our West Sound Engineering billings came in this morning, and because we were working so much with them, I wanted to get those in there so we weren't, 15 days late or so. And that's for those water system modeling on the carry system.
Okay. Okay, so I guess we can entertain a motion to accept these.
Do I need to read?
So
Would you
the
like?
vouchers you do need to read, and these are correct.
Okay. So I make a motion to approve the following vouchers. Payment, which is C, D, and E payment vouchers. Payment general fund voucher 241001012 -241001036. Okay, and then 241001046. And 241001047, and 241001051, for a total of $8,780.40. Payment of payroll vouchers, number 241001002, 241001011, for $16,665.81. And E is payment of water fund vouchers, 241001037, 241001045, and 241001048 to 241001050, for a total of $19,248.61.
Okay, I'll second that. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Okay. I think we've accomplished quite a bit tonight. Anything for the good of the order? No?
That is a long meeting for the office to put together.
Yes,
Thank you for your patience.
And thank you for all the hard work.
yes, thank you. Trying to see if they're, now, next, of course, is our small ports, which is going to be at Lake Chelan, 24th and 25th. That's the good of the order for me. I don't see anything else that needs to be
Oh, yeah,
done. Okay.
now I have, on mine, I got so it's the 23rd?
Yeah,
24th, and
well, we go in
25th?
on the 23rd, and then the 24th, you can go to some classes in the morning that are pretty good. I can't remember what they are. I looked at them today, and I can't remember what they are, but then the Thursday is an all-day, and then they have a half a day on Friday until about noon.
Okay,
Then we just check out,
Yeah,
head on home.
okay. And we're gonna look at riding together or going separately?
Good. I mean,
well, I usually drive myself because I try to go visit a few people along the way.
Sure. But
yeah, if you guys
I
wanna-
could work with Michael and we could
Okay.
carpool.
That would be
Great.
awesome, because somebody
Yeah.
Make it easier on both of us.
can. Yeah.
Excellent, okay. All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.